Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. US President Donald Trump has suggested that the ongoing US military campaign against Iran could wrap up in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. Speaking to reporters, he claimed that key objectives, including limiting Iran's nuclear capabilities, have been achieved. Trump stated that US airstrikes against Iran, conducted in coordination with Israel, have largely accomplished their mission, adding that US forces now dominate Iranian skies. The president also claimed that senior Iranian political and military leaders have been removed. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoed a cautiously optimistic tone, confirming that the US is exchanging messages with Iran. He told Fox News host Sean Hannity that there are talks going on and the finish line is in sight. President Trump says Iran's leadership has asked for a ceasefire, linking any decision to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. In a social media post, he warned military action would continue until the key shipping route is fully restored. However, Iran has rejected the claim, with Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghaei calling it false. On the other hand, US Vice President J.D. Vance has stepped up efforts to broker an end to the Iran conflict, communicating through intermediaries in Pakistan. He conveyed that President Trump is open to a ceasefire if US demands are met, while also warning of increased pressure on Iran's infrastructure. Pakistan continues to act as a key diplomatic channel between Washington and Tehran as negotiations intensify ahead of a critical deadline. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi have appeared at pro-government rallies in Tehran, greeting supporters as crowds waved national flags. Araghchi praised what he described as high morale among the public as the conflict continues. The rally comes amid claims by US President Donald Trump that Iran has sought a ceasefire, a statement Tehran disputes, keeping tensions elevated. Meanwhile, Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has praised Hezbollah and pledged continued support for the group. In a statement, he highlighted Hezbollah's role as fighting intensifies in Lebanon, where the conflict has displaced large numbers of civilians. The Iran-backed group remains closely linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which has played a key role in rebuilding its capabilities ahead of the current war. Iran has warned Bulgaria against allowing the United States to use its airports for military operations, citing sovereignty concerns. The protest follows reports of US refueling aircraft at Vasil-Levski Airport, with Tehran saying it reserves the right to respond under international law. Bulgarian officials say the country is not involved in the conflict, as several European nations distance themselves from US operations. France says NATO is not meant for operations in the Strait of Hormuz, calling such a role inconsistent with international law. Junior Army Minister Alice Rufo stressed the alliance's focus on defending Euro-Atlantic territory, not external conflicts. The comments come as President Trump considers pulling out of NATO, amid frustration with European allies unwilling to deploy forces. Also, Germany says it remains committed to the NATO, after comments by President Trump raised fresh questions about Washington's role in the alliance. Government spokesperson Stefan Kornelius said that Berlin's position remains unchanged despite repeated remarks from Trump. The response comes as several European countries distance themselves from US military actions, highlighting growing divisions within NATO amid the Iran conflict. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said he will act in the country's interest, whatever the noise, when asked about US President Donald Trump saying he was strongly considering pulling the United States out of NATO. Starmer also said that the global instability caused by the Iran war means Britain should align more closely with European allies on security and economy, following repeated criticism from Trump. He also said the impact of the war would define us for a generation and could be similar to the increase in energy prices in the 1970s. And oil has tumbled more than 3%, reversing earlier gains as persistent Middle East volatility unnerved markets, even amid reports the US-Israeli war with Iran could be winding down. The front-month Brent contract for June fell $3.33, or 3.2%, to $100.64 per barrel. US West Texas Intermediate crude futures for May slipped $3.34, or 3.3%, to $98.04 per barrel. Prices rose earlier in the day, but turned lower as uncertainty over the Middle East conflict prompted investors to lock in gains. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.